It's always time. I kind of want Hello everyone, welcome to AvgJoeWatchReviews, where we do more than just reviews. Today we're taking a look at the Tissot Seastar Powermatic 80. Beautiful watch. We're going to do a review on that, but it's got a lot of flaws that I need to point out and let you guys know before you jump on board and buy one. So, guys, I upload every Wednesday at 4:30, so if you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and also click that notification bell. That will notify you of every video that I drop. As I said, every single Wednesday at 4:30, you can guarantee a video on the channel. Also, click that like button. That is the most charitable way to help support the channel. So I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm just going to dive right into the review of the Tissot Seastar. Oh yeah. All right, so it comes in the standard Tissot packaging. You've got the black and white box, Tissot logo. On the back side, you've got what looks like books, but the bottom two are actually books. Very standard. You guys have seen that many, many times. And then we open it up, and there is the star of the show. Usually it's latched onto here, but I was just doing this for the camera. And here it is, the star of the show, the Tissot Seastar. So as we can see, this particular watch has that ceramic bezel. And as you can see, the numbers actually kind of go in and out depending on the light. The black ceramic is like a black piano finish. Very glossy. It's got a really cool effect. It really plays well in the light, as you can see here. Now it's got this very dark blue dial, and the problem with this particular watch is the fact that it doesn't have AR coating, so it's really hard to photograph. And it's really a shame because this is a beautiful watch in person. Pictures don't do it any justice. You have to really have different angles that don't wash it out. So the fact that it's no AR coating, the fact that everything is kind of a fingerprint magnet because it's really high gloss finish with the polishing and then the ceramic, it just really makes for a really tough watch to photograph. And also sometimes even to see when you're in really extreme light situations. But I will admit that it's a really clean dial. As you can see, the hour and minute hands are extremely just bold and in your face. I love the T counterbalance on the second hand, and you've got the lollipop right there at the end. So when you take a look at the loom shot, you will see that going around the dial here. All of the indices are loomed, the hands are loomed, and again that lollipop is loomed as well. Again, not very good loom with this watch. It's not very strong and it doesn't last very long. It's a shame because you can get this watch anywhere from I've seen it for 700 plus. I've seen it for this one particular on Amazon. I've seen it for 545. You really have to look around and really get good prices. So for a watch in the 500 to 600 range, you should be able to pick one of these up. And you know, I just want to give you guys a warning of all the things that you may expect from a watch at that price point. But I have to admit that even despite its shortcomings, I still find a lot of value with this watch, and I'll get to that in a second. You do have the date window at the 6 o'clock position. It is a black date wheel with the two white contrast too. You do see Swiss made at the bottom. Seastar Powermatic 80, 30 bar, or should I say 1,000 feet of water resistance. So more than enough water resistance for a dive watch. That's where you're getting good value there. And of course I did mention the Powermatic 80. And that is really the highlight of this watch, because What does that mean? Well, you're getting a Swiss-made automatic movement that actually beats at 21,600 beats per hour. So that gives you the benefit of an 80-hour power reserve. So you have this watch fully wind on a Friday, you could pick this up on a Monday morning for work and it will still be running if you left it on your desk or nightstand or whatever, okay? Now, typically, you know, a watch has 42 hours of power reserve and you get to 28,800 beats per hour. So as you notice with this particular secondhand, it's not as smooth as ones that you may be used to. And what I'll do is I'll actually get you another watch and I'll show you a watch that beats at 28,800 beats per hour and give you guys the difference between the two. So not that I'm comparing the two watches, but I just want to give, I'm just showing this to you for the sake of comparison. The Omega Seamaster actually beats at 28,800. So you see a much smoother secondhand as compared to the Tissot Seastar. Now, the Tissot Seastar, in my opinion, beats more like a Mecha Quartz, like the Seiko VH movements, which I'm going to show you one right here. So this is an example of a VH movement. So I'm saying it's anywhere, this particular 21,600 beats per hour is somewhere in between this and this. So it's not as choppy as this, but it's not as smooth as this. So at the end of the day, you're still getting an automatic movement. You're still getting a nice sweep, but you're going to get a little bit of that stutter. But at the end of the day, you're getting that stutter at the benefit of getting a more power reserve at 80 hours, which is absolutely awesome. Very similar movements are actually found in Hamilton watches, like the khakis. They also have 80-hour power reserve, so they actually share a lot of components. It's almost the same movement. So I know Hamilton regulates their own movements, so it's a little bit different, but very, very similar, okay? So you take a look at this dial and you see that it looks like it's got blue more toward the inside and it kind of blackens out toward the end, but it actually is a full blue dial. It's not a sunburst dial, but it's kind of matte finish, but it does have this glow to it. It's very unique. I do like it, but I do prefer the blue on blue, and I'll show you a picture of that right here. So I got this from a subscriber, Shane Paradise, and he gave me an awesome price for it, so I couldn't turn it down. So I want to give him a huge shout out for this watch. I really couldn't turn it down for the offer, for the generous offer that he gave it to me at. So I want to give him a huge shout out for that. This particular one comes on a really comfortable and high quality silicone strap. You do see the T logo on each side, and on the back side, it's done really nicely. Okay, it's very quality. It's almost like a tire tread on the interior, and it's just done really nice. And you also get the Tissot branding. Really nice buckle, by the way. You do have some brushing and polishing, like a chamfered edge here. I really like the buckle a lot. They did a really nice job, and they filled that in with some black right there. But you know, this case back is just incredible. You get that Tissot logo with I'm sorry, the rotor with the design work, and it's really, really beautifully done. Tissot just does a really nice job with their watches. Now it does say sapphire crystal, but don't let it fool you. The back is definitely not sapphire, but just to cure some curiosity here, I'm going to do a crystal test on it and see, or should I say a sapphire test with my diamond selector, and we're going to see whether or not we do have sapphire front and back. But while we're waiting for that to power up, I want to tell you another thing that I'm not liking about the watch, and that is the bezel action. It is way too easy I mean, I've even wound the crown, and as you can see, I can turn that. I could turn the bezel way too easy. And I hear from other collectors, people that have this watch, that I don't have a dud. This is actually the way that these bezels are. So you want a bezel that's a lot tighter, something that you won't accidentally move, especially if you're a professional diver. You definitely don't want to mess with this, because this is timing your ascension, descension underwater with the oxygen tanks. So you definitely want to mess with that. So this is kind of more of a diver style, in my opinion, because it doesn't have great loom, and that bezel is surely going to get you in some trouble. So we're going to do the top crystal, and we've got, there we go. Once it goes into yellow, you know we got sapphire. And we go to the back crystal, and as we could see, as I suspected, no crystal. That's more than likely a mineral crystal. So we turn the watch to the side. You can see that those lugs are not large. They actually point downward, and they're a little bit stubby, and it actually helps with the wrist presence, and therefore we get a nice lug-to-lug height. Look at the cutouts on the side of the case. That's a really, really nice design, because you've got brushing and then you've got polishing in the middle points there, which is really nice. You also got significant crown guards with the coin edging on the crown and the sign crown as well. Really nice brushwork on the sides, and then on the top, that's where you get the polishing, and that's definitely a fingerprint magnet for sure. And you also get that coin edging on the bezel itself. Now we do get a screw down crown, so we just simply unscrew it, it pops out, and we do get first position for the date, second position. You can see that the second hand does hack, and that's where you simply move. And look at that, almost at 12 o'clock, that snapped into place. You can even hear it. It actually has that quality feel, very, very nice. And then if you want to set the date, you just simply, check this out. Very nice, very good clicks, solid clicks. Feels like a quality watch, quality movement. That Powermatic 80 is always a great movement. And then when we wind the watch, very satisfying sound. So let's take some measurements of the watch. But before we do so, I'm going to show you the Snoopy Timex on my wrist on the new Strapsco straps, guys. See my link down below in the description. These are the brand new Italian silk straps with the leather. Really affordable price. I was actually surprised at how much these were. These actually look a lot more expensive than they are. So definitely check those out. And they even have another variety. I mean, they have about 4 different colors. Here's another one here. They do change color in the light. This one's the black leather. And that's like an orange pattern there. This one's brown leather with, like, you can see it's like a purple maroon with the blue. Really, really cool. So let's take some dimensions of the watch before we put it on the wrist here. So the watch advertises as 43 millimeters in diameter. So we're going to take a look for ourselves and see if that is the truth. And as we can see, it is indeed a 43 millimeter. Our case depth, so our case thickness is a 13 millimeter. And our lug to lug, we see here, is right at let's just make sure we got this correct here. Right at the 50 millimeters lug to lug. And then again, the thing that I don't like about the watch is that we have a 21 millimeter in width here, and I'll just show that to you real quick here. So there we are. 21 millimeters with lug width. So we're going to throw this on the wrist and show you how it wears on a 7-inch wrist. Very comfortable watch, by the way, guys. It's not too heavy. The silicone strap just makes it very wearable in all types of environments. So here it is on the wrist. And again, it just fits very, very nicely. I think 43 is really my maximum. But of course, most importantly, the lug isn't too bad. So beautiful watch. I'm going to flip the camera around and give you guys some final thoughts. All right, so let's just point out the flaws of the Seastar. And despite the flaws, I have to say that I still highly recommend this watch at this price point because you are getting a Swiss-made watch that has quality components. But it is missing a few things that make this a true diver's watch for me. If you want a true diver's watch and you don't want to pay a lot of money, I highly recommend the Seiko Patty Turtle. That's a great watch. But if you want a Seiko or a Swiss-made dive style watch, and I'm not saying this watch can't go in the water. But I'm just saying that this one just falls short of being a true diver in my opinion. First and foremost, if we take a look at it, it's missing AR coating, okay? We need to have AR coating so that we can see this watch in all lights. You can see how it gets washed out pretty easily, okay? But I will say that the hands and the cleanliness of the dial makes this very readable despite that. But again, under murky conditions, we don't have a really good amount of lume. The lume is actually not as bright as it should be, and it also doesn't last. And the bezel. As I am winding the bezel, or the crown for instance, this thing moves way too freely. It's got a satisfying sound, but it moves way too easy so that if you bump into it, it's too easy to move. So there are my reasons why this is not a true dive watch for a hardcore person that's going to be using a oxygen tank and whatnot, okay? So that's just my 2 cents. You guys can keep the change. But always remember that there's always time to be kind to one another. Please take care of each other, and I'll see you guys next time on Average Joe Watch Reviews. God bless, my friends.